So last week we talked about how the Constitution should not be held to the same level of importance as the Bible, and how our allegiance and attention should be first and foremost to Scripture. But I would be remiss if I didn't say anything about the Constitution's role in our daily lives and how we should view it. So, how do we relate as Christians to the Constitution and our nation's other foundational documents? See, I think there's a little bit of a lack when it comes to Christian teachings in this area. I think there should be messages from the pulpit regarding the basic outlines of our nation's rules and regulations and where they stem from, and how we should approach them in a God-honoring way. And I think it begins with knowing what kind of a country we live in, because there are many types and forms of government methods all around the world. For example, you have what's called a pure or direct democracy, where if at least just 51% of the population is in favor of something, the policy or initiative goes forward. We could say Switzerland. And then you have what's called a dictatorship, where a person has total power and control and uses it to suppress others. You could say North Korea. Then you have an oligarchy, where there's a small numbered group of people in charge due to status or wealth or ties or force. We could say Russia. Then you have monarchies, where a certain ruler functions as the head of the state, and this position is passed on to their heirs once they're gone. You could say Saudi Arabia. But then there's us, and we live in what's called a constitutional republic. And what is that exactly? It's a place where the, quote, Constitution is the supreme law of the land, defining government's powers and its structure and protecting basic rights of Americans. The people select members to temporarily serve in office. Both the citizens and governing officials are bound to follow the rules established in that Constitution, end quote. In America, there's an overarching federal government and 50 individual state governments, but the Constitution puts limitations on both of them. In this kind of a setup, the people hold the most power, and the government is not supposed to be getting in everybody's business. In our land, nothing may be passed that goes against the Constitution, and nobody, regardless of your place on the ladder, is exempt from following it. The preamble of the Constitution reads, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." And that is the purpose statement, you could say. This Constitution and our Bill of Rights allows for checks and balances so that tyranny and abuse aren't possible without repercussions. And this allows for a place where even the highest of leaders in our nation have sworn an oath when they enter their position to uphold the Constitution. And it's like they enter into a formal covenant, actually. And that in turn gives us the rights, which are laid out, to object and remove them if they start to stray off course. Like Thomas Jefferson famously said, "When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty." So while these rights are outlined and accepted and seen as heroic in our country, what does the Bible have to say about our personal responsibility and actions toward those in charge? I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger. Stick around and find out next week.